With a St. Johns County murder trial that has garnered national attention, the penalty phase of convicted teen killer Aiden Fucci began today. Now, testimony in the sentencing phase started this morning. Fucci, who is now 16 years old, pleaded guilty to murdering his 13-year-old classmate Tristan Bailey.
Tristan Bailey was stabbed to death on Mother's Day of 2021. She was a beloved daughter, sister, and friend to many. Her confessed killer, Aiden Fucci, was 14 at the time, and he now faces life behind bars.
And we have complete team coverage of this sentencing phase. You're going to hear from our reporters and our analysts throughout the night. And
we want to go first tonight to On Your Side's Jessica Clark in St. Johns County. Jessica, I know you've been covering the proceedings all day long.
Right, Heather, Anthony, it was a full day of testimony. We heard from the medical examiner, from detectives, from even forensic experts, and at times Fucci could be seen writing notes or talking to his attorneys, especially during the testimony regarding the autopsy. Tristan Bailey was stabbed 114 times in the head and in the back. Also, dozens of those stab wounds were defensive. We learned really where on the arms, where in the hands today. A psychologist also tested for a bulk of this afternoon about Fucci's interest in death and in killing and in gory horror movies, and also about his behavior in jail, some of his quote, bad behavior in school. And Fucci's attorneys did not want this particular psychologist to testify, partly because he had not examined Fucci himself. We could possibly see another psychologist come from the defense side and testify later in the week. Now, one of the most gripping parts of the evidence played out for us today, at least in my opinion and my colleagues' opinions, was video of inside of an interrogation room in the sheriff's office. It was actually a video between Fucci and his mother and father. His mother and father asking him, "What did you do?" And he asked, "Well, is Tristan okay?" And they said, "No, she's dead." And they were really trying to pound into him the seriousness of the situation that was taking place. And so we want to kind of broaden our look at what's happening today. So Shannon Schott is our legal analyst out here in the drizzling rain. So thank you very much for doing this with us.
Thank you.
Now, so obviously he has pled guilty. And so right now what's happening is the determination of how much prison time he's going to have. Yes. But it also matters for what happens with that 25-year review. So 25 years out, when there's a review of his case.
Exactly.
Explain that.
Yeah, so juveniles are unique in the sense that if they are given life without parole, they are entitled to a review hearing in 25 years, where the court's going to consider several factors, including how Aiden Fucci will have changed as an individual and whether or not he is entitled to ever be free and walk free again.
So will whoever's looking at doing this review 25 years from now be looking at what happens this week?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They'll keep all of the transcripts, and especially in this day and age of technology, we'll have a much better record of what happened. It's all been documented through video evidence as well, and it will be very important for his attorneys in the future to revisit his sentence and what happened this week in order to determine how he's changed or if he's changed at all.
If he's changed at all. It's interesting with the psychologist that spoke today. Anything about today that struck you?
I think, as I've said many times talking about this case, that, you know, kids don't wake up one day and just murder someone else. And they really pinpointed that something happened when he was 11 years old, and Aiden Fucci endured some sort of trauma, whether that was actual or, you know, thought in his own mind. And I think the defense is going to have to dive into what happened when he was 11 years old and how 4 years later does he commit this brutal crime without anyone intervening or putting an end to what was going on in his life.
So one of the things you and I have talked about is this autopsy testimony. So we're going to come back later on throughout the newscast and talk more with Shannon about her thoughts on what is happening so far and this hearing, a sentencing phase for Aiden Fucci. We're live in St. Johns County. Jessica Clark, First Coast News, back to you.
Jess, thank you. And we will have live team coverage, gavel to gavel, throughout the penalty phase. We are expecting at least 2 days of hearings and testimony. The sentence is expected to be handed down by Friday.